I be my own best teacher? How do I be my own best cheerleader? So one thing that I have learned very, very quickly in the entrepreneurial world is that it is a really common trope for people to quit their job, to quit their 9 to 5 because of a toxic work environment, start their own business, only to realize down the line that somehow they became their own worst boss. They became driven by targets, they became punitive, and they thought, this is exactly what I quit my job to avoid, and now I've brought it into my own business. And I thought about this and I realized that it's also really, really common in the language world. And so I wanted to make a message about this today. So as language learners, we all teach ourselves at least some of the time, whether we're completely self-studying a language or whether we're coming home after class to do homework and extra study and consolidate what we've learned. And it can be great, it really can, because nobody knows us better than us. We know how we learn best, we know what drives us, and we know how to make things more interesting and more relevant to us because, well, it's us. But even in self-teaching, that self and teacher relationship needs a lot of attention. We all know in our heads what a good teacher and a bad teacher look like because we've all had good and bad teachers in our time. And yet, sometimes when we decide we're going to teach ourselves something, we revert back to the patterns of the teachers that we knew, even if we thought then that they were bad for us. It's very easy to slip into the angry, impatient teacher mode that we've all seen and hated. The ones that were critical or negative or ran the whole classroom on threats. And the problem essentially is that every day when you set out to learn your language, you drag your entire past in with you. And of course, as we just said, you know yourself better than anyone, which also means you know all your perceived character flaws, every horrible thing that anyone has ever said to you. And that is a lot of power for a teacher to have. So if that relationship isn't working between the inner student and the inner teacher, you very quickly become a captive audience to someone who's quite cruel and mean to you. As a teacher, yes, your job is partly to impart knowledge and drive discipline and monitor standards, but, and this is important, it's also to encourage and inspire yourself. Your job as your own teacher is not to compare yourself to other members of the class. And yes, as all self-students know, it is very possible to do that now in a classroom of 1 because we can head to YouTube or social media and look at how everyone is getting on there. Just cry at all the hyperpolyglots. Your job is not to say, and you always do this, remember that time when you were 10, and your job is not to call yourself names or to get into bargaining matches where you take away your own privileges. So today I'd really like to invite you to give your inner teacher a full evaluation, to think about what feels right in a learning environment to you. Think about how you want your inner teacher to talk to you and how your inner teacher is going to bring out the best in you. Plan lessons for yourself that you know you're really going to enjoy. And don't be afraid to give yourself rewards, whatever you respond well to. If you have happy school memories of stickers, give yourself stickers. Buy the ones that smell nice. There are some that you can scratch and then they smell of fruit. Tell yourself that you've done a good job when you get the answers right or when you've really tried at something. Make sure that you're comfortable and that you have breaks. Check in with yourself, coach yourself through the difficult things. Because as your own teacher, you know your own biggest weaknesses, but you also know what you most need to hear. So show yourself how far you've come. Keep cheering for yourself, keep empowering yourself, and keep celebrating your progress. Happy language learning today. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow.